Mike Bond here with UFC 215's Gilbert Melendez, who fights Jeremy Stephens Saturday night. And Gilbert, welcome back. It's been a little while for you. Just how are you feeling being back in the fight week groove here?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel relaxed, a lot more relaxed than I've been in my last few fights. Hard work is done. Of course, I got to make weight, but I'm feeling really excited about this fight. Very tough matchup, but I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the weight. First time down at 145 since, I believe, your Shudo days where you fought at 143. How are you feeling right now, a few days away from weigh-in?
I'm feeling okay. It's manageable. I mean, it's been tough. I've been trying to sustain it. One big heavy meal and boom, I can shoot my weight up. But I've been sustaining it these last few days, and I like what I woke up this morning at. And I think I'm going to get there, no problem. And I can't wait to rehydrate up. And pretty hydrated now, but I can't wait to rehydrate and get a lot of food in me and feel fully charged.
Why ultimately did you make this decision to change weight classes?
Yeah, I'm looking to reinvent myself here and start fresh. There's no secret here. I lost 3 in a row at 155 pounds against the champ at the time, Pettis, against Eddie Alvarez, who soon became the champ afterwards. Though I believe I won that fight, and against the tough Edson Barbosa. These 55ers are tough, and they're a lot bigger, and I think they're not cutting weight in healthily, and there's new tactics and new science behind cutting weight. And, I was one of those guys back in the days. We used to throw on the plastics and run and starve ourselves. And, I've learned how to diet right, and I learned how to do this right. And I know I got to evolve with the sport. And that's what I'm doing, evolving. And I feel good here. I feel I'm going to be long. I feel faster here. And I like where my body's at right now.
How would you kind of summarize your UFC run so far? I mean, you mentioned the guys you lost to, former champions, elite guys. You look at the 1-on-4 on paper, I'm sure it doesn't really represent what's actually happened. So how would you kind of sum it up?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the 1-on-4 doesn't really represent it, and what I've really done, and it's a bummer, and I can go off on how I feel like I beat Benson and, how I beat Eddie and all that, and, I could easily be 3-2 in the UFC. But it is what it is, and I've made my choices in my life. Outside of the UFC, and I'm also a businessman, and I feel like I've been very successful as a fighter, but also as a businessman in the fight game, and I'm really satisfied with what I've done, and I'm still doing what I love. I'm challenging myself. I'm cashing in a paycheck, making money for my family, and though I've lost, I haven't got dominated, I don't believe. I don't feel like I've been knocked out. I don't feel like I've taken a lot of damage, and feel like I can still do this, so that's why I'm out here.
What do you make of Jeremy at this point? I mean, he is a guy, he's making his 26 UFC appearances. He actually has the most losses in UFC history, but that's just being around for so long. So how do you kind of analyze him as an opponent?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup for myself. Both of us are guys who don't do very well fighting backwards. We're forward fighters. And, I feel like he's lost some fights like myself, but he's lost the scorecards more than the fights. He's done damage to people, but they outpoint him. They choose not to fight Jeremy Stephens, as I feel like some guys choose not to fight me. I feel like him and I are both two guys that own at the center of that octagon. People are trying to stick and move us and outpoint us. That doesn't mean they're better fighters. That means they're better point fighters, or they win a match, not a fight, in my opinion. And, I assess him as a hard hitter, as a banger, as a sprawling brawler. And and a tough guy, so I think he's a tough challenge.
Yeah, I mean, when this fight is made, it's the opening fight on the pay-per-view. Everyone's kind of saying it's going to be that fight of the year, that fight of the night type thing. Is that what you want out of this fight, or do you want to go in there and get a clean, dominant, one-sided, decisive victory? Yeah,
I want to fight my fight, but that is a pressure fight. That is a good fight, and yes, I also want a historic fight. I want to go down in the sport not as a I'm 50-0, but I just stick and move and win on points. I want to go down the sport as a warrior, as a legend. I want people to go look back at my fights. I was looking down my Facebook feed the other day, and there's this highlight video of Diego and I who has like 48 million views. It doesn't matter a record, Diego's record, but there's 48 million views on that frickin' video, because we're warriors and we put it out there, and I'm looking to do that. And I think that's in my opinion, and to my community and all the people I roll with, I think that's more respectable than any sort of championship, is going down in history as a warrior. And I think it's an opportunity for me to have another epic fight and with another warrior out there. So I'm looking forward to that.
You mentioned this is a fresh start, but are you also putting pressure on yourself? I mean, do you feel a fourth loss is kind of a do or die situation, or are you, not really thinking about it that way?
Like I said, I'm a smart businessman. If I want to keep fighting, I can keep fighting, just because I've did some stuff on paper that allows me to do whatever the hell I want. But yeah, I don't enjoy losing. Though it's been close and I feel like I've had some bad things, I don't enjoy losing. You know what I mean? And I'm looking to go out here and win, and not really thinking about the future, but definitely if things don't go my way, I'm gonna have to assess things a little bit more.
How many fights do you have left on your UFC contract?
I have 4 or 5 left on my contract. You know, I mean, I have to look at that and make sure and everything. But I have some fights left on my contract.
So how do you see yourself winning?
I see myself, you know, I feel like this can go anywhere. You know what I mean? I feel like this can go anywhere. I feel like, you know, grappling can be involved with this. You know, strike can be involved with this. You know, but I feel myself winning because I push the pace and I take over. You know, and that's key. Is me putting some pressure and dictating this pace and outworking him. Outworking him is key.